Oh boy, I'm peeking again. There we go. What is going on, everybody? It is your man, the Big Dog, and welcome to episode 53 of the Dog House. What's going on? What's going on? How's everybody's night going? If you're in the New York area, you'll probably be expecting a shit ton of snow. It's actually snowing right now as we speak. So, to all my West Coast people that don't have to deal with this, damn it, wrong button. That's for you. Lucky bastards don't have to deal with snow. Well, you do every now and then, but not always. Thank you for joining me. If you feel so inclined, please follow this Twitch channel. Also, subscribe to the YouTube channel. I just recently uploaded, literally just recently uploaded my Chapter 3 of Inner Thoughts, a new video series that I've been doing. Also, join the Discord link. If that link doesn't work, let me know, because I gotta create a new one. Also, email me with questions, comments, and concerns. And last but not least, friend me on Steam. Alright, today's gonna be a chill episode. We're gonna be watching some Reddit stories. I've been watching these at work a lot lately, and they're kind of funny. Some are a little crazier than others, but some are kind of funny, especially the Bridezilla ones.
What is the biggest Bridezilla moment you've witnessed?
Let's get started.
I was 17 and my dad was marrying a terrible woman. She made my brother and I walk my dad down the aisle. No big deal. Whatever.
Okay.
When the wedding was over, I was summoned to her hotel room so she could scream at me that I looked bored when I was standing next to my dad and I ruined her whole wedding.
Oh,
she
man.
then proceeded to tell me that I was not allowed to live with her and her children at her house and had to live at my dad's house alone, where he would visit me on weekends.
Damn.
5 months later, my dad takes me out to get Chinese food and tell me they're getting a divorce.
Yes, we are hold as L.
I didn't
I
experience
love when people
this,
hold L's like
but a
this.
good friend of mine found out her friend was Major Bridezilla. First thing first, she told my friend that she would arrange for my friend to get picked up at the airport and have a place for her to stay since it would cost her a lot of money to stay somewhere in NY. 2
Yeah,
weeks
living
before
there.
the wedding, she changed the date of the rehearsal and forced my friend to change her flight, costing her over $400. My
Damn.
friend lands in NY and calls the bride, who proceeds to tell her that she is too busy and that my friend has to figure things out for herself. So
Bruh.
my friend had to book a room at the last minute and call a cab there. Day before the wedding, the bridesmaids still don't have their dress. The bride doesn't pick a dress for them until the day of the wedding. Day of the wedding, the bride is running 3 hours late doing stupid stuff. Her friends and family reminds her of the guests waiting for her at the ceremony and she just says, well, the wedding can't start without me. So she leaves.
Where is it? This chick out of her mind.
Leaves her guests there waiting on a rooftop in NY for 3 hours. Note, everyone is super dressed up, so not in comfortable attire to deal with the heat. But after the wedding, I believe they stopped talking because my friend realized the bride was such a spoiled monster.
I had said the same thing.
I used to work in a place that was like a wedding mall of sorts. They sold everything from the dress to the food to the DJs and video production. It was a
Interesting.
one-stop shop. This lady came in and demanded to be refit. She was claiming they made her dress too small. Our staff quickly took her back and started ensuring their measurements were correct, that they used to have the dress made. Nope, she had gained 15 pounds since her fitting.
Oh man, that's funny. That is funny. That poor bitch.
My boss said, "Mom, I'm not sure how to say this, but you've gotten bigger. The dress matches the measurements we took of you when you..."
Bro. Oh, that is so funny. That is so fucking funny.
ordered the dress. She
Said you got
threatened to
bigger.
call all kinds of police and new action reporters. Ultimately, my boss said, "If you going to call anyone, I'd recommend a gym."
Damn.
Fatality.
Yes. Damn.
The guy was brutal. If you're going to call anyone, I'd recommend a gym. That's
dumb.
amazing.
That is amazing.
I worked for a florist setting up weddings when I was 15.
Okay.
I was the lowest person on the totem pole. I had no control over any aspect of the work and I was a grunt. I was
I've
setting
been
up a
there.
wedding with hideous pink and sparkly decor. I remember it pretty distinctly. It was at the art museum on a Saturday, a venue that costs $10,000 to rent. So the
Damn.
bride and groom had money. I was alone at the museum because I couldn't drive yet and I was frequently abandoned. Everything was ready for the reception. Bride comes in and starts crying and screaming about how the pink wasn't the right shade and her wedding was ruined. According to the contract she signed with my boss, she had to have seen an example of the work she was getting.
Why is it always something small that goes wrong and then they claim that their fucking wedding is ruined? I mean, seriously.
Bruh.
As for these spoiled ass bitches, man. Why you will never see me get married.
And approve it. She approached me,
Ever.
15-year-old me hiding behind a column because I didn't have anywhere to go, and started screaming at me for ruining the wedding. I
Wow.
hadn't made a single arrangement there. I had no idea how to respond except to say I was sorry. I was a florist for 15 years. I never did one wedding. I did help some florist friends with the ones they were doing, but I was never on site just for this reason. Frick it. Life's too short.
Exactly.
One day after her wedding, a friend I went to school with went on a rampage on Facebook about how none of her friends showed up to her big day and the ones that did show up didn't dance or participate in anything at the reception. She blasted everyone and made her wedding party feel like crap because she spent too much money on unnecessary things that no one used, mainly the photo booth and tons of rented costumes and accessories to use in the booth.
Why? Why would you do that? Like, why would you waste all that money for...
She made a second post an hour later complaining about all of the people that stopped her to take pictures and didn't let her enjoy her party. It was hilarious to watch the comments flood in from people who went and were pee and a few requested their gifts back. The kicker here is that a former classmate, someone who
Also, why would you post this on Facebook? Like, that's the stupidest thing. Like, that's a quick way to lose friends.
has a lot of mutual friends with the bride, lost his infant son earlier that week and the baby's services fell on the same day as the wedding.
Oh
Most
my
of the people
God.
she was bitching at for not coming had opted to go to the child's funeral service instead of her wedding. She lost a lot of respect and a lot of friends in 2 hours.
Exactly. Like, why would you do that? Like, people, if you're angry, don't... You know what you should do when you're angry? Like, really angry, like you're gonna do something stupid, angry? Masturbate. Masturbate. I'm serious. Like, when you got that post-nut clarity, it does a lot of wonders for you.
Most of the people she was bitching at for not coming had opted to go to the child's funeral service instead. That moment when you whisper, "Oh, number Waterbeck." My sister's best friend is getting married this year. They both work minimum wage jobs yet have reserved tens of thousands of dollars of wedding vendors stuff. She went on Facebook asking how she's going to pay for it and everyone commented telling her to do something simple if they can't afford it.
Exactly.
She replied to every comment saying everything's booked. It's just a matter of coming up with the money now. She set up a GoFundMe and no one donated. It took all my strength not to comment and tell her a homeless person
Bruh.
That's for the fact that nobody donated to her. And they shouldn't.
can book $100 K of wedding vendors. Doesn't mean they can afford it. I've been to something like 70 weddings. I worked as a waiter and busboy at a banquet hall. In my experience, the bride's mother is the real terror. Usually because,
yeah, that's
at
true.
least in my experience, it's her and the father actually paying for everything. I saw the bride's mother, leading a pack of bridesmaids like hunting dogs straining at their leashes, corner a co-worker and threaten to have the mafia violate and kill his family if he didn't refold the napkins at every place setting.
Jesus.
When I was about 13
What is
I
wrong
was
with
flying
people?
with my folks to visit family in Hawaii. While we were waiting for our flight, I overheard a woman throwing a temper tantrum to the desk agent. She kept going on and on about how she was the bride and how she needed to be upgraded to first class or it was going to ruin her honeymoon. Screaming,
Really? That would ruin your honeymoon? That you can't fly first? Oh my fucking god! Just
Nope.
what is wrong with people? Like, there's some spoiled ass people in
Crying
this world.
like full-on toddler-style temper tantrum. It's like, hun, the wedding is over. You don't get to be Bridezilla after the wedding. If it
Thank
was
you.
so important that you be in first class, you should have purchased a first class ticket.
There we go. You wanted to fly first class? Buy the fucking ticket. Jesus.
At my wedding, it was a double matronzilla moment when both of the mothers-in-law showed up at the wedding wearing white dresses. I'm dumb enough that I didn't realize that's ordinarily 1. A huge no-no and 2. Really petty and spoiled. My wife was awesome enough to not care what anyone else was wearing. Spends weeks crying to my sister and I that no one is happy enough that we're getting married. She literally wanted us to call her once a week and tell her how happy we were that she was getting hitched.
You've got... Oh my god.
And how lucky we felt to be in her wedding party.
What is
When
wrong
we
with
went
people?
bridesmaid dress shopping, she broke down crying when we chose the less expensive dress, and accused us all of trying to ruin her big day by making ourselves uglier. Yes, uglier. The next day, she called me to tell me I was out of the wedding party,
What are you
because
doing
I
in there?
just wasn't the kind of person she wanted in her wedding. You know, after we bought the dresses, she then invited other people to take my and my sister's place in her wedding party, with the expectation that she'd be able to give them the dresses we'd paid for. She called, screaming that I had ruined everything. When she went to pick up her bridesmaids' dresses, and was too short, I had called and cancelled the order, and gotten a refund. Yes, I got a refund from David's Bridal.
Nice.
AMA. Not to me, but to my sister. Her boyfriend's sister was getting married that day and my sister came to their house early to help her into the dress. They came out of a room at the same time, and the father of the bride wasn't able to see his daughter clearly, so he told my sister that she looked beautiful that day. The bride got offended because she thought her father had ignored her for my sister, and they had to spend an hour trying to coax her out of the room she locked herself into to cry and scream. A lot of people ruining what was probably very expensive professional makeup. Bride
Okay.
didn't allow groom to pick who he wanted to come for his side of the wedding.
Oh,
Only
no.
bride approved groomsmen, best man, family, etc.
That's never a
I
good
wasn't
sign.
invited, so I can't comment on how the wedding went. I'd been the groom's best friend for the previous 17 years, but generally disliked how incredibly controlling his girlfriend, now wife, was. His
Can't
own
imagine
brother
why.
wasn't invited to the wedding either, same reason. I haven't really gotten to speak with him at all in the 3 or so years since the wedding took place. But she keeps a very tight leash on him, I guess. When they first moved in together, she immediately cut out his gaming hobby altogether, which was the only way we really kept touch with each other since we'd moved apart.
Oh,
He
no.
struggled with it for a long time. Apparently even when she wasn't even at home. Like when she was out for a night on the town with her friends. He wasn't allowed to play his computer. If she
Jesus Christ.
Nope.
This ain't right, man. Like, she's treating this... Like, ladies, this is why dudes are so afraid to get married. Because you treat them like children.
found out that he was playing on his computer, she'd have a massive tantrum. I guess she eventually put a timer on the computer to restrict his playing. It would record exactly how long he'd been logged into his machine, and if it went even a second over, it became some kind of personal attack on her. Frankly, it was an abusive relationship.
It
I
was.
tried to get him to reflect on it and see just how abusive she was to him, but he just kept responding, "I'm happy and this is what I want." Eventually I concluded that I couldn't reach him anymore, and if he really was happy then I shouldn't be trying to talk sense into him. Holy crap, she sounds horrible. I hope he can eventually manage to get away, cause, yeah, that
Yeah.
ain't right.
That ain't right, man.
I used to
Like, if this was... Like, if you flip this around, this would be a whole thing. But because it's a man dealing with a controlling woman, nope. Nothing.
videotape weddings for a living and saw a lot of crap. But the one thing that will always stand out is seeing a bride cry at her own wedding because it just dawned on her that her new husband is in butthole. Or maybe she knew all along and it took the reality of the wedding to wake her up. Don't know.
I don't know
At
if
my
that
friend's
counts.
wedding, it was maid of honor Zilla. She micromanaged anyone and everyone, from the event staff, to the caterers, to the photographers. Basically, she just made everyone's job twice as hard and was a pretentious bee about it. What made me frustrated was that the groomsmen had our separate room where we were getting dressed and had our own photographer who was trying to take as natural of photos as possible. She just walks right in and starts making her demands, telling us to do certain things and telling the photog to take pictures. Thank God our buddy pulled his boxers up into a thong and started booty dancing on her and she looked at him in that offended disgust face. Think that Britney Spears...
Oh my god, that's funny. That is funny. That is funny.
GIF. And she left. Thank God our buddy pulled his boxers up into a thong and started booty dancing on her and she looked at him in that offended disgust face. Think that Britney Spears gif. And she left. I'm getting married next year. I'll have to keep this trick in mind.
You know what? I'm gonna do the same.
The woman who married my bill. The highlight of her Bridezilla moments. And there were men who was sending out a 4-page front and back letter to all the members of the wedding party regarding what exactly was expected of them.
Wait,
This
what?
included exactly how much they were to spend on gifts for the couple. Basically, oh, don't go nuts. Tee-hee. But it had better not be too cheap. Expected
Yeah, that's a great way to get people to like you. Is to fucking tell them, hey, don't spend too much, but don't be a cheap ass.
dress code for everything from informal meetups to decide wedding attire and favors to the stag bachelorette parties, and how they were to behave at all times. This was to a group of punk rock, anti-establishment kids with tattoos, colored hair, and leather galore. This was not unknown to the bride, as she claimed to be part of that scene
Sorry, guys.
herself. She actually demoted the best man the night before the wedding and moved up another of the groomsmen, because she felt the original best man, one of the groom's oldest and best friends, wasn't pulling his weight and doing things the way she wanted. This despite him honestly trying and being on his best behavior for everything, even though he had never been a fan of this girl. And that's just the tip of the Bridezilla iceberg.
Oh
I
god,
hate
it
to
gets
say
worse.
luckily, the marriage did not last.
Damn.
This won't be the biggest story, but I thought it was funny. My good friend was getting married, and I was meeting her for lunch. She had mailed out RSVPs with stamps included for people to mail back. I called to coordinate meeting up, and said oh hey, and I have my RSVP right here. I can give it to you. She flipped out because I would be wasting the stamp they bought. Dude, just put it in the mail like you're supposed to. She was dead serious, furious that I would waste the stamp. I still
All
brought it
this
so
over a
I could
snap.
drop it in the mailbox. While I was thinking of it, she literally stood there and watched me put it in the mail, addressed to her. The bride asked me what color her bridesmaids should wear. I was one. I told her that given all 5 of us were redheads, a pale, pastel lilac is the only color which should be avoided, as it makes us look dead. Guess what dresses she picked? Floor-length silk, pastel lilac. I assumed she'd
hilarious.
forgot. Her sweet husband later told me, completely nonplussed, that of course the bride has to put bridesmaids in awful dresses because she has to be the prettiest on the day.
Really?
What are the odds every bridesmaid is a redhead? Bride resented the decision to do the wedding on this day because she was on her period and was overly dramatic about his suit not being elegantly fitting for her wedding and not matching her fabulous dress. I can minorly understand the period part, but not the rest.
What the hell?
Not Bridezilla but another crazy woman at a wedding. She was the best man's girlfriend at the time, and wasn't allowed into the limo on the way to the wedding because she was crazy and no one liked her. When the best man informed her, she grabbed a kitchen knife and chased him around the room seriously trying to stab him.
What the
I
fuck?
think she wanted to ruin the wedding by sending this guy to the hospital. After we wrestled the knife away from her, she went from crazy-eyed devil woman to limp, crying girl instantly. I mean, once
God.
that knife left her hand, she immediately stopped screaming bloody murder and started sobbing uncontrollably instead. I had her by the wrist and vividly remember her trying to slash me with that blade. I'll never forget it, because that's the first time I've seen someone so insane. It still kind of sends chills up my back when I think about it. I can only
Sends
imagine
chills
what
up
that
mine
guy
too.
had to deal with. She tried to manipulate us and act like a victim. And when she realized that we weren't having any of her crap, she stormed out of the house. Without missing a beat, one of the guys said, "I hope that crazy bee doesn't come back." And we all broke out laughing. She did end up coming back though. She was let in because it was decided that she might do something even crazier if we kept her out. Hurt herself,
Probably.
start a fire at our house, damage our cars, or something else equally insane. Wedding went off without a hitch. Couple groomsmen were asked to keep an eye on Crazy. Crazy was dumped a few months later. Looking back on it, we should have called the cops and had her arrested. If it was a dude, we'd have kicked his butt and called the cops.
Exactly.
Crazy to think we just let her stroll out of the house after she tried to kill someone. My sister-in-law threw a massive fit because my other brother proposed to his girlfriend and they wanted to get married in the same year, but months apart, June versus December. She said it was a special year and didn't want her attention taken. Even though they waited 3 years to get married.
Wow.
My other brother ended up just waiting till January the next year. My sil did the same thing. She was P. We were getting married 6 months before her. My husband and I have been married 26 years and she's on husband number 3.
You can't make this shit up, bro.
And all 3 weddings have been huge affairs. I told my husband, if she gets married again, I'm not going.
Damn.
Not a Bridezilla, but Maid of Honorzilla. Friend of my wife was getting married and her sister, the bride's sister aka Maid of Honorzilla aka Bitchzilla, was organizing all the guests and everything via email.
Bitchzilla.
First email. Accommodation and food for 2 for the weekend. £150. Please pay into my account. Fair enough. They were getting married in a castle about 200 miles away, so accommodation was a must.
Okay.
No problem. Hen party meal and drinks kitty. £100. Please pay into my account. £100 for a meal and a few drinks in the local pub. Really? Then. Canoeing trip the day before the wedding.
What the
£100. Please pay into my account. No thanks. I'd already decided to decline this one. As I was recovering from an ankle injury, the emails kept trickling in, and my blood pressure rising incrementally with each one. Salsa dancing lessons before the hen party. £50.
What the
Please
fuck?
pay into my account. I blew a gasket at this one. I did some research and found out that there's one place within a 30-mile radius of the wedding venue that does salsa dancing lessons, and they cost a lot less than £50. In fact, if you worked out £50 x the number of people on the hen party attendees list, it worked out at 2 free places for her and her sister. So this bee is setting up an awesome weekend for her and her sister, and we're all paying for it. I added up the costs in all her emails and this bee was expecting £575 from us before we'd even left the house. Unbelievable.
Damn.
Email back to Bitchzilla. We'll pay for accommodation, food and my wife's food at the hen party only. No intention of paying for you and your sister to go canoeing, salsa dancing and getting drunk. The first revelation came when my wife went to the hen night and called me after an hour to come and pick her up from the restaurant, as it was the bride and all her close family and friends from school, and she didn't feel welcome.
Well
The
then.
final straw was when we got to the reception only to find there was no free drinks, champagne reception or wine on the table, just a cash bar.
Bruh.
That shit is unforgivable. You have a cash bar at a wedding? Oh my god. If I ever hear that somebody I know is having a cash bar at their wedding, I am not going. That's a big old
Nope.
no.
I took back the wedding present we'd bought and returned it to the store after the weekend. No idea why the best day of someone else's life has to be the most expensive of ours.
Because,
Not
bro.
really a Bridezilla, but a super annoying and grabby bride. My friend got married, and from the second she announced her engagement she was asking for gifts. She posted her registry on Facebook at least once a week, before save the dates even went out. She hosted an engagement party, and threw a fit because she didn't get lots of gifts. It's not customary to bring gifts to an engagement party. Maybe a bottle of wine for $50, but that's not expected. She told me that anyone who didn't get her an engagement gift wasn't invited to the wedding. She
Wow.
hosted 2 bridal showers for herself. She had a bachelorette with lots of random people, and the invite had us all bring cash and liquor. Throughout all this, She never sent a thank you card. I gifted her
Bitch.
expensive champagne at the engagement party, some stuff from the registry for the shower, and cash for the wedding. I got one thank you card 6 months after the wedding. She hadn't even signed it. It was just a generic printed thank you card with her and her husband's name printed in it. After the wedding, she got pregnant within like a month. Then started the baby registry begging, posting on
Lord.
Facebook non-stop, hosting herself 2 baby showers and inviting random people, like my parents, who have met her once, but my parents are rich so we think she invited them for the gift. She didn't send any thank you cards for the shower gifts either. Baby is born, and the first thing she does is set up a GoFundMe for raising money for the
Bruh.
Oh my god.
baby. I think the goal is $1,000, so not much. But she also set up this meal delivery thing,
Does
where
this
she's
chick have a
asking her
job?
friends to sign up to bring her hot dinner every night for the first 2 months after the baby is born.
What?
She's requesting super specific and expensive dinners too. Stuff like grilled steaks, BBQ ribs,
Oh
and
my
gluten-free
God.
foods. She's not gluten intolerant. It's just annoying. At least send a thank you card. My sister claimed that I said that I felt sorry for her, when in fact I said I am really happy for her. She then didn't speak to me or deal with me the rest of the wedding and turned her party against me. She only
Wow.
talks about her wedding. 2 years out, it was unnecessary drama produced for no reason other than to be the victim and even more of the center of attention. Really, for all times, all other witnesses, including my father, heard me say I was happy for her. This is after I planned her bridal shower because she called me a week before crying that her maid of honor didn't. This is also after I drove 20 hours straight to get to her wedding so I had the money to splurge on a gift instead of purchasing an airline ticket. Groom's mom had come from money. She didn't have much of her own, but her family had some old wealth. Son married lower middle class girl. They had the reception at some run-of-the-mill banquet hall. Buffet style dinner. Nothing
Nice.
special. But hey, it was food. Groom's mom went around and apologized to all the guests from her side of the family for how shabby the accommodations.
Wow.
Word got around to the bride's family, who were embarrassed, and the groom, who took his mom aside and made her apologize. Not a bridezilla, but bride's stepsisterzilla. She wore a white ball gown and went told to go change. Changed into a dress like that see-through Rihanna one. It was white too. She was obnoxious the entire time, but the whole family defended her, even after she propositioned all the men, including the groom, and some of the women.
Where the fuck is it? What the fuck?
I am getting married this weekend, so I post a lot on our wedding planning. A few days ago someone posted asking for advice on what she should put in the contract she was going to make her bridesmaids sign. Among the things she was considering: no new tattoos or piercing, no hair color or style changes, no getting pregnant, no going tanning, for a wedding that was over a year away.
Wow.
I worked at a hotel for years as a banquet manager. I've worked hundreds of weddings. I've never encountered a bride to be that bad. I've always found it's the mother of the groom for some reason that I want to punch in the face. Hub's cousin. Her dress cost more than our wedding. Her wedding, all told, could have bought a respectable home for the young couple. The honeymoon could have bought a nice new car. If you've got the money for a wedding like that, great, but she didn't. She just pitched tantrums until her parents and her fiance went into massive debt for it.
Oh,
But the
man.
moment that really sealed it for me was when she barred certain family members from being in her family wedding photo because they weren't dressed fancy enough or because they hadn't brought a gift to the wedding. There were both an engagement party and a wedding
That's some grimy ass shit
shower.
right there.
Apparently we were supposed to bring gifts to each. My sister-in-law, my wife and I got married the same.
Alright, alright. I think that's enough. So I'll see about picking this up next week if you guys are feeling up to it. But that will be all for episode 53 of the Doghouse. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. And if you're on Twitch, stay tuned. I will be playing Gargoyle soon.